get it. Real talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Good morning, family. We thank you for another great edition on this lovely Thursday. Yes, it is the end of the week. I'm here in the Northeast. It's supposed to be 62 degrees today, family. So you know I'm going to get out and enjoy myself, but I can't, not yet, because we got to do this fabulous show. We thank all of those who are tuning in from us globe wise, and we didn't went across the pond today. We got across the pond guests. So I told y'all we was worldwide. I know y'all didn't have no problem believing that, right? But we want to thank y'all that have come by and doing this live. We want you to tell us where you're checking in from. But drop your questions, your comments in, because we're talking about something very important today. So we want to make sure that you engage and hear these gems. But of course, I can't do this alone. You know, I got my fabulous host and my sidekick, and we're gonna get it popping on this pre-Friday. What's going on, Charlene?
What's up? I'm over here trying to do we got
What's
everything?
up?
We got everything. We good.
Yeah, you good?
What's
You
going
good? You
on,
good?
everybody? Yes,
Good,
yes,
good,
I'm
good,
good. I'm good. I've been
good.
um I've been on an amazing workshop with our good friend Russ Hedge and D Scott. And when I tell you, I'm over here trying to make sure. Okay, am I looking at the camera, making sure I also do my producing in the back end. So yeah, it's about to be a lot of work and
Oh
trying to
wow.
remember stuff.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's why I leave that stuff to the super producers, Dr. Dre, the
Man,
DRE,
I don't
those
know
kind
how
of
they do
people.
it. I don't know
I
how
don't know
y'all
how
do
they
it.
do it either. They that's why they the paid peoples, right?
Yes,
I'm just gonna
yes.
be the one signing contracts be out in the front. Denzel made all his money first, being in the movie. Now he's behind the scenes producing the movie. So sometimes there's a journey.
Talk about it.
So I'm
Talk
on that
about it.
journey right now. Right now I'm gonna be in the
And directing.
and directing, right? And writing. He's doing a little bit of everything. So,
Yes,
because of him, you
yes.
got the Black Panther. So, you know what I mean?
Man.
So, sometimes you got to help out or do a little bit in the meantime till you get to where you can be the time, the big time.
Yes.
So that's what it
And
is.
our amazing friend Shri, she's here.
Yes,
She's
hollering
gonna
about my
be a
man's in
guest.
there.
Yes, she's got and Shadow's in the room.
Someone
Actually, he
shrimping it
had
up.
his shrimp. Yes, he had his shrimp and tuna today. So he's living life right now. But
This
Shri's gonna
dude.
be a guest on our other friend's show. He's doing a live today at 10:30.
Who is that?
Philip Horn. Oh my
Philip. Oh,
goodness.
yeah, my man Philip, the orange
Yes,
bow tie
yes.
guy. What's up, Phil? Shouts out to
No, not the bow tie.
Wait, Philip
Horn.
Horn. Oh, Horn. Oh,
Overseas.
across the
Yes.
pond. That's why she was
See, you
talking
see
about
what happened
she.
when you have like so many over
Yeah,
you have so many Philips in your
I
life?
got so many Phillips in my life. I'm telling you. Yeah, that not that Philip. Philip, Fulfillment Solutions. You my man, 50 grand too. I hope you ain't been crying in a minute. I
Yes.
hope we moving forward. Love that
Yes.
vulnerability you show. But we talking about the other Phil, the brainiac, the
The
one that
LinkedIn
the
King.
LinkedIn king. You know what I mean? The sales navigator. Show you how to really use that. So look forward to
Yes,
seeing that
yes,
with
yes.
Shady. She always getting amazing guests. I'm gonna have to take a page out of
No,
her
she's
book.
gonna be the guest on his show.
Oh,
He's
they
doing it
spotlighting
now.
her.
Yes, they swapping
Oh, they
spaces
swapping
now.
spaces. Uh oh. It's show swap. We're gonna
Yes.
have to have a new show called
Come
Show Swap.
on. Come
Yeah,
on.
so that's the good thing.
So so I just know we've been doing, it's been an amazing week.
Yes.
Today's
Busy
gonna
week.
be even
Busy.
better because we just keep trying to level up, not just for ourselves but
Absolutely.
the community.
Absolutely.
And to go overseas, have Cass in our community, and she's
Yes.
here to really give us that insight because a lot of times we start businesses and we just jump in, right? So we
Oh,
we hear
just talking
everybody
about that.
telling us we need to have things in place, we need to have policies, strategies, processes, and you're like, okay, so you have a process, but is it the right thing that you need? Because there's still a difference between having your processes and then having policies and then following through with these policies. Because a lot of times people are messing up looking
Yes.
real shady out in these
Oh,
streets.
she
And you
shady.
hear it
She
all the
does
time. Oh,
shady.
somebody took me for money. They don't respond to me. They didn't that whatever it is,
Or they
right?
promise something
So
and they give you everything.
didn't give it to me.
You know,
What was this and all that? So you have to get your stuff in order. You got to write that
oh,
down.
you
You got to
always
make
well.
sure you hand it out to people. And before you know it, you now have a business that you have ethics underneath that. Your ethics are your foundation for that.
Yeah.
So that's where Cass is going to really come in, and she's going to give us that information into what kind of policies do we need to have in place? You know, a lot of times you want to say you don't get no refunds, but did you put it in writing? And I see
Oh,
people get caught out all the time on people's court. Judge Judy, they
oh
always
man.
get caught out there. Did you have it in writing? Did they see it in advance? So all of that, that's what Cass is going to help us get into. If you want to have somebody cancel a contract with you, what's the right way to do that?
That's
What's the
it.
type of things you should be saying in these policies? And I cannot wait. And Carl, is there
What's
anything
up?
you wanted to say before we brought her on?
Yo, we were talking a little bit backstage, and we got that we talking about that those accents, you know what I mean? Because I have my accent and she has her accent. So we was just, trying to talk about that. But we were really just discussing, I want her to get into it. We're talking about these, and this is pretty much for these entrepreneurs, these solopreneurs, these ones just jumping ship from the great resignation and finding themselves trying to embrace their skills and make money out of it. You're gonna have to protect yourself. And this is really what we don't pay attention to too much because corporate has already done that for us when we're working at these jobs. But
Yeah.
implementing these policies and these procedures, they are safety nets for you as business owners. So we want to get down into it. She's going to spread some light on some stuff, and I don't know if I'm going to talk like Charlene because she love to use that term shady, them shady practices.
Because that's exactly what it is. You look shady. You may not be, but you look shady. Hello, you look shady.
Well, listen,
Hello,
let's bring on
hello.
all the way from across the pond, y'all. We didn't win all the way across the pond this morning for our guest, and got her in the middle of the afternoon chilling with us over there. What's up, Cass? Come on in and give it to us, Cass. What's going on?
What? What's
Hi,
going on?
How are you
How
today?
are you?
I'm good. I forgot to put in my earrings, so
That's fine. That's fine.
that's
You
something
put
to
them on
fret
while you
about.
talk to us, girl. Come on here.
So you just reminded me.
Oh, no, that's good. Yeah, Charlene, she got her hoops on, so she reminded you.
Yeah, I feel because I will never forget one of my good friends, co-workers. One day I forgot them because I rushed out the house, and he just kept staring at me all day. And I was like, "What's the wrong?" And he's like, "Something's missing." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "You don't got no earrings on." I'm like, "Really? So you gonna be bothered all day because I don't
All
got no
day,
earrings on?"
all day.
And ever since then, I made sure I had earrings on because he was gonna be upset.
Yeah, yeah. Because when guys notice something and it ain't there, believe me, it don't leave their
Sure
minds.
enough,
It
sure
don't leave their
enough.
mind till it get
Y'all
fixed.
don't let that go.
Nah, 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 nah. We ain't gonna let that go. But Cass, let the people know a little bit about you and give us a little rundown on some of the things you do. And then we're gonna hop into some of these policies and procedures, some of these do's and don'ts that these people are doing out here, so they won't be doing shady practices.
Come on.
Yeah, see, I'm not judgmental.
Yeah, yeah. See, that's that
So
New York state of mind. That's what they do.
Look. You could. It's
She's
not
from
judgmental. It's
New
just that. It's that
York.
feeling. It's that being. Because if anything to describe, I think it's an adjective. It's not a judgment. It's just an
Oh,
adjective.
that's a harsh adjective, shady.
but yeah,
Life
as
is
a
hard.
customer or a client, if you feel that the person that you're liaising with has acted shady, then they need to take that on board. They need to know
Hmm.
how their customers are going to feel. So,
Yeah.
what have you put in place so that they don't feel like that? Everyone concentrates on the leading up to the sale, but never what happens after the sale, or if the sale doesn't go the way you had planned. Everyone talks about this funnel, and I hate it because I've said it before. I see it as people being thrown into this hole with no bottom, and they're just like trying to cling on to the edges. Am I
We here with you. Yes.
everyone?
We spotlighting you. We spotlighting you. Yes, ma'am. We
Ah,
spotlighting you.
Yes.
She's like, oh
Yeah,
wait,
she's like, hold
She's
on.
like,
We got
we
you.
got you.
We got you.
what happened to me? So yeah, and what was I saying? So yeah, I don't like that idea of a funnel. Maybe a journey, because on a journey sometimes there's a diversion and you have to like go off to come back on track again, which is fine. And then you think about how you're going to work your way through, which is pretty much like policies. You need to think about how you're taking your customer or client, however you want to call them, through the process of being a part of your service or having your product. And if things go wrong, what happens? And it's not always to please the customer. It's about you being happy, because there's nothing worse than having to give a refund and then you're upset for the rest of the year, let's say, because you didn't really want to give it. And because you're watching your bottom line just go down and down and into the red because everybody's coming back and what you're giving is no good, or it's just not suitable for the people that you are like attracting. So yeah, I think the easiest way to explain it to people and how they get it is house rules. You have your own house, you have rules to your house, and you have guests that come in, long guests, new guests. If you have a simple room, like take your shoes off at the door, and people don't want to do that, don't come in my house. And you're going to stand firm in that. So why would you not have that in your business? Why do you think you have to please the person to come in with their shoes and then they sit down in your sofa and put their dirty shoes up in your sofa and get real comfortable
Oh,
while
talk
you're
about it.
all uncomfortable? Policies and
Yes,
procedures are not to stay in a folder on a shelf getting dusty or a forgotten part of a hard drive when no one is looking at them. It's a everyday experience. And I think most of the time people ignore them because they don't understand them. So I'm not
Yeah.
exactly,
boring.
exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
that's deep news.
And that
Go
and
ahead,
that's
Charlie.
a little bit of what I was trying to get at when I did the title of you looking shady, because a lot of times you may have a way that you want to work, but you never expressed it or you weren't clear. And sometimes it's really a miscommunication. That's why the policies that you create, that kind of sets the tone for everything. So like you said, when you have the house rules, everybody already know where they stand. There's no real disconnect. There's no real way or room for somebody to come back later and say, well, you never said that. Like, no, no, we had a whole moment of this. That's why you have sometimes where you say the journey. I love that. You have the journey. Sometimes you take a little detour, you take a little break, but it's a journey. So when you're on this journey, people are telling you, okay, we're going to take this stop, we're going to go over here. Sometimes even before the journey, you have a welcome moment where people are welcoming you in. They're telling you the rules ahead of time. And they say, hey, if you ever, for whatever reason, have a moment where you need to ask a question, please feel free throughout the whole journey. So that gives you an opportunity as well, as well as the client, that gives that opportunity to be there to say, hey, hold up, this don't feel right. Is this what we were supposed to do? I thought it was this. And then you can say, no, no, remember when we talked about this? That's what that was. And it gives you that moment. But if you never set the policies in place and now something feels off and now you're like, well, you know what, I'm going to say no to that. And people are like, well, hold on, you never said that before, and in no time did you say that. Now you want to say no? Like, it kind of takes that away.
Yeah, yeah. It's the easiest way I know that people then start to click with what policies are, because you'll allow your friend in the expensive red bottom shoes to come in and walk around, but you won't allow the other one in their broken down trainers or sandals to walk. How does that work? Have
Yeah.
consistency. And in your home, usually you have other people that you share your home with. So you want to make sure that they are on board with your rules so that they too can follow them, and anyone they bring in follows them. And it's the same in
Mm,
business. You will
yeah.
hire small, usually one or two at a time, but they need to
Mm,
understand how you're going to move forward, what it is that your whole intention, this destination is going to be, so that they too can board people the same way you would. So you're not always there. Because I'm all about the good life, well, the sweet life, not the good life, sweet life, which is La Dolce Vita. And I remember speaking to Italian lady recently, and she says, "Yeah, I don't get that. The Dolce Vita, that means fun, getting wild in a fountain and just having." I said, "Yeah, but would you not like that in your business? Like, if you had to
Mhm.
go to work, would you not like that?" And it kind of
Right.
stops her, and it's like that's what I want. At first, I was saying, "Yeah, you're doing all of this so you can go off and have a life." But you spend more than half of your life at work, whether it's your business or somebody else's business. So why would you spend all that time suffering and not enjoying it just so that you can go afterwards, hopefully, go and enjoy the rest of your life? What, at the end of life? You might not even make it. What a disappointment. So, no, the good life is all the way through. Find something that you love. And to do that, you have to have these rules in place so people know what they're signing up for. Your rules will attract other people. It doesn't matter how strange you think they are, there are other people who think like you. There are other
Mhm.
people who think like me. They're very few and far between, but they are there. So just attract the people that are for you. And some,
Exactly.
then you just come along, just for a time, just to experience what it's like, and then move on. There's no problem with that.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
all an experience. So yeah,
yeah.
the
You
sweet.
talk about that. Yes, you talk about Cas. You talk about that experience and that journey, and I just until recently started really hearing that to some effectiveness of journey because of the fact I think that a lot of people, as Charlene said, has been kind of led with this big influx of everybody's now an entrepreneur. Everybody's now, and when I say that, this is of course it's blanketed because we still have a lot of people working corporate, but the masses that have come into across the line from corporate to now entrepreneurship. So we have an influx of a lot of people doing things for the first time and implementing or even learning to implement things for the first time. And I like how you put it so simply with the house rules. And I got hardwood floors all throughout my house, and I have a sock basket at the front door. Like all new, so I go out to Dollar General. Yeah, I go to Dollar General, they my store. I get about $10 to $20 worth of footies. So I make sure I always have new socks if we have guests, right? So you're not walking through my house because it takes a lot to do those floors. So let me let y'all hang out with me one Saturday
Mm-hmm.
when I got to polish them. It takes a lot to do those floors, so I don't let people walk into my house with their shoes on. I don't even do it. I take mine off at the door. But the how you saying the house rules, it creates that immediateness of saying that this is my place and this is what I allow. So when you come into my place, this is what you should expect. And a lot of times, a lot of these entrepreneurs that have started these coaching courses, whatever they may have started, there's no journey in there, and a lot of times there's a misunderstanding of what to expect because they just
Right.
propaganda and market. This is what I do. This is what I offer. But I haven't heard any about how important is that for us in implementing those policies to create that journey for people so they can get the expectation. Because a lot of times, if it's not pointed out, they don't even know what they really want. So choosing you might be the difference over me choosing someone else. How important is that to get that foundation started?
Uh, How do you expect anything to last if you have no foundation? You can go
Like,
back afterwards and do it, but if you go back afterwards to go and set up your policies and procedures, you have a team that are going to be like, "I'm not doing that. I've got my own way of doing it, and it works for me. I'm not doing it." You'll find that, I don't know, little Jimmy over there has no interest in your company and where your journey is going, because he thought you were going to the moon, and now you're saying you're going to the beach. He doesn't want to go to the beach, but he's happy here because he's doing what you brought him on to do at that time. So why should he change? It's complicated and it's just difficult. Why would you do that? I don't understand why you wouldn't have rules in place. Why would you not want to broadcast to everyone what it is that you're doing and say where you're going? I mean, we always talk about when we're going on holiday and what we're going to do, the final destination and all the plans. So, why is it a big secret when you come to business? Business is no different to any other aspect of life. But I guess the attention is more on how much you're going to make and how many clients you can get, or you get sidetracked with followers and all the rest of it. And that's not a lasting. We've heard about the three little pigs. The only house that survived was the one made of bricks. So that little pig had foundations. I don't know how to put it any other way.
Oh man, I love the foundation piece of that. I love the foundation piece because it is so true and it's so essential. And I don't think, and I know, and I speak a lot of this for myself because I'm one of the ones that migrated from working for a corporation, still do, but I'm leaning more towards being free of that, and to be independently on my own, doing those kind of things. And a lot of these things are primarily important, but we don't think of them. And I know maybe someone could relate to what I'm saying. When I jumped out of here, I thought everything about being an entrepreneur was what you were able to do because I don't know why I just married the thought of me being able to do what I do at work. That should correlate to me being an awesome business person, right? Because I
Yeah,
know what I do at
because
work. It should be also in business.
yeah, because when you're at work, all you need to do is just that one thing. And you are excellent at it. You get to perfect it. It's like making an egg. If you love boiled eggs and you do it time after time after time, you will make the perfect egg. That doesn't mean that you can make Christmas dinner. You know how to make an egg. When you go into business, you are now making the Christmas dinner. How are you going to do that?
I
So
love
you
that. Or you go from Christmas dinner to now you trying to run a whole restaurant.
Ooh,
right.
talk about
It doesn't work, does it? When you're in corporate, there's an IT department, there's a legal department, there's a HR department. You can do all kinds of mess, and then someone else will say, "No, you're not supposed to do that." You can get upset, go in a corner and sulk, but somebody else is going to sort it out because now it becomes their problem. When you're an entrepreneur, you don't have anybody else to go to. You are the solution and the problem. And if you don't sit down and plan out beforehand of everything, but if you don't sit down and have a rough estimate of what it is that you want to do and think about how things may go wrong, which it can seem a little bit, I know, pessimistic in a way, but you're doing it so that you have an enjoyable time. And when something comes and you go, yeah, you know what, I thought about that and I'm covered. There's no panic, there's no frantic behavior, there's no, oh, just give them what they want to keep them happy. No, you get to stand up confidently and say, do you know what? No, this is my rule. This is what I'm saying. It was there in writing before. You what? You didn't choose to read it? Okay then. But it was there.
it. Yeah, that's definitely it was
And I
there.
love that you said that because it's really about choice. So even in companies, they have a lot of policies, but then how many employees are really sitting down to read what these policies are? Because you do the rough overview when you get hired, and they
Got the
tell you
handbook
what
and they
books
give them to you.
oh well, I didn't get a handbook. They showed me where to go
Well,
because
I
a
mean,
lot of things are now being
online.
digital. But
Yeah,
it's easier to ignore what's online too. We have to
yeah.
remember that because how many of us have read the policies or in terms of use, you could say, to use social media, even for this platform on LinkedIn. How many of us have read what they're telling us they're going to allow us to do or what they how they move. So you have to really understand that. So for you, even if you're writing it down and you're handing it over, you have to actually verbally also tell people. because that too is another way to cover yourself.
Right.
And Cass, you said a lot of times people ask you a question of why should they have a policy? Why should they have PMPs when they have an SOP, which is a oh, you could go into that and kind of give us that
Yeah,
breakdown of the differences.
we don't have enough time to go into that because that's one of those things that just grates on me. SOPs are to tell someone who comes in how they do that work. That's it. You're coming in, you are, I don't know, data entry. You need to take this form, make sure that it's on that screen, save it there. That's it. Why are they doing that? Suppose someone hasn't filled in some key information on the form. How will they know? They're just going to fill in what they see and put it to the side. And then when you need that information, say for funding or to get a loan or whatever it may be, the information's not there. And then you get upset because the person hasn't done their job. Well, they have done their job. You gave them SOPs and they followed the SOPs. And worse still, it's not a way of building an internal community, which is another thing that I look at. If you give someone a bunch of instructions of how to do their job, or better yet, a lot of people are now talking about just loom it, do a video, and then they can see what's going on and know how to do the task. It's just like, and when there's a problem, you say, well, you didn't do it right. Well, there's no one to ask. They don't build a relationship with anyone. So if you're having an attempt for a day or two, yeah, give them SOPs. But if you're looking to build trust and a lasting relationship with someone, then no. Do you see the expensive induction where you talk people through what your business is about, what it is that you're looking to achieve? Then that is a way of incorporating an individual into your internal community. And at any time during that period and their probation, if you have that there, um, they can decide, do you know what, this is not for me. And they're saving you money. You don't want to go through the whole training just for them to work out that, this is not for me. Secretly start looking for a job and sabotage all the work, the hard work that you're doing by upsetting customers and then leave. What is the sense in that?
Yes, I love that.
So no SLPs. No SLPs.
Do not make that your end all be all, because that was actually the cry for last year. Everybody was like, you got to get the SOPs, and like you said, do it on Loom. But at the end of the day, you're still missing that vital piece of communication. So not just even with your employees, but your clients. Like, what should they be expecting from you? You're just giving them a welcome packet of one page, and then there's like a whole gambit of a relationship that you're trying to build. That there's all these holes that you've left without those policies.
Yeah, and another thing with SLPs, the people that are doing it are the people that are just starting out. And especially business support or anything administrative, it's the worst part that people hate. So you're doing a video on something that you hate. So it means that you don't even know the most efficient way of doing it. You're probably not doing it right. It's just long winded. And then you're going to give it to someone else to do and say, follow this. That makes no sense. How is that sensible? It makes no sense.
Man, love it. And Shauna Wright was because we're getting a lot of great comments. So I wanted to give some spotlights to that as well. And Shauna Wright was saying, your policies are the recipes to get you there. And a lot of people are agreeing with you. You've been dropping so much information and knowledge that yes, I just want to spotlight those people that are really giving the comments out there and saying thank you. Kind of that's what these comments are. They're saying thank you, and they're vibing with a lot of what you're saying.
Right. But I like that, the recipe, because your recipe will be different to your sister's recipe, to your mother's recipe, because you're going to add a little something different. So it's the
Yeah.
same SOPs, templates, they don't work for me because they're not going to work for you. They're not going to speak to who you are and what it is that you're trying to provide. It's just blur. It's like a one size fits all t-shirt, you know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and my build, you get someone who's like the slender, really thin type of person, t-shirt's going to fit a whole different kind of way. So, yeah,
Oh yeah. Yes, yes.
very
And
important.
go ahead, Carl.
No, I was gonna say I was thinking about that, and I put that in because I think a lot of times we don't put that into the SSOP and the roadmap for the day-to-day operations, and that's exactly what it is, and that's exactly what you've been covering off. And since we're talking about the shady part, I want us to go about how integral and essential to have those in place so it keeps you out of those compliance, those legal, those regulations. Because a lot of times people
Right.
take for granted and they say, okay, well, I do got an SOP or something, so I'm kind of like covered. And I'm glad you said that because people have been fundamentally saying the SOP is kind of like the foundation. It truly is for somebody that just came in off the street doing the job and you want them to do it correctly. You want them to have an operating procedure of what they go to step by step. That's very integral in training and developing someone to do it correctly. But that individual that's come in does not, if they haven't read the handbook, like, and I fired so many people, and I always go back to that. We gave you a handbook. Most of the time, you had to sign the last page and return it, so we know that you have read it.
Yes.
And I would go back and I would ask when I'm interviewing someone a specific question, maybe on page 4, maybe on page 9. Like this was on page 4. We covered this particular part because it's something I've seen people have not followed through with. So I highlight that and go back to it and oh, I got to reread it. See, so it already lets me know the individual we just hired is really not paying attention to the things we need them to. And oftentimes I will put them on a probation watch because they didn't just follow through with the fundamentalists of just reading it. Yeah, I was kind of rough dude like that, but it
Mm.
was, because those things were important to us maintaining the compliance. And I'm a big guy on compliance because compliance could cause your company to close. I mean,
Yes.
be bankrupt, lawsuit. I mean, it's so important to understand it. And us as entrepreneurs, you don't have the financial withstanding or therewithal to withstand someone suing you for damages and those kind of things. You just don't. I can just tell you now, you can't afford the attorneys. I don't care if you're doing 6 steps and 7 figures. Like it costs a lot and it can damage you, not only in the essence of what it will cost you, but it can damage your reputation and you beginning again. You know what I mean? So why put yourself through that when you can put these little simple things in place that will kind of give you some insulation going forward? When you talk about those shady practices, how much more, even with what I've just said, not having them in place can cause harm to you, Cass?
Th- So I have a legal background. Um, I love the law, and it's all about that justice and fairness. And I swear, under all of this, there's like this happy hippie that doesn't want to hug a tree, but believes that there should be justice and fairness for all where possible. But I'm also really selfish. So I believe that what's good for me should be good for me, but it shouldn't be a hindrance to anybody else. And I don't
Mm.
understand why anybody would want to do that. But there's this oversight on not having the right paperwork, let's say, in place. I, you're over there in your, I call them like mini countries because you have all different laws depending on what state you're in.
Oh my God, need a
Over,
Yep.
headache. And
yeah,
need a
It's
over
headache.
a
here
it's a
in the
pain.
Oh
UK, we
God,
don't
Pain.
we
really
ain't gonna talk about the U.S. law. Oh my God, let's get some good
Child.
comparison here, child. But anyway, we ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, but over here, when you have at least five or more employees, there's certain policies that you have to have. So someone who comes along and you think, okay, they're like 15, 20 pounds an hour and they're going to give you SOPs, they haven't got you covered. They have no legal awareness. They don't know
Mm.
what you're supposed to have. Whereas I can say, well, no, you need to have your health and safety policy. You need to have a grievance policy. Why would you not have that anyway? If someone's not performing and you've hired them and they're supposed to be a part of your internal community, Why would you not have a process where if they're not happy or you're not happy with them, you try and work it out? And why would you not set that out instead of, something goes wrong, you get fed up, and in the heat of the moment, you fire them. And then you end up in, like, here it's employment tribunal. You end up there and you say, oh, but you know what? I've got SOPs. You've got no chance. None. I think
Exactly.
policies and procedures are very long-winded, they're time-consuming, and they take a lot of knowledge and understanding. And as an entrepreneur, you don't have the time for that. As a business owner, you don't have time for that. So just have someone who understands. Sit down, because that's what I offer. I offer you to sit down and we talk. I want to know where your business is going. I want to know what you do. I want to get excited with you. You get excited. You know if you're doing something good. You want to change the world. You are a hero. Okay, this is what you want to do. This is what you need in the background. Do you understand this? It's not something that HR offers. HR gives you a policy because the law has changed and this is what is going to make it acceptable for your business so you don't get sued. But you don't understand why. And
Mhm.
so when you breach that, you don't realize that you've breached it. And then you have to sort out all the mess. And remember, you're no longer in corporate. There is nobody else who this is going to be passed to sort it out. It's down to you.
Yes, and we have a question too, asking where is over there, Cass? Where exactly are you, or the roundabout area?
Yeah, don't be telling me.
Oh, I'm in London. That's fine. I am in the UK. I'm in London. I am a Manc. I like to say that because I'm from up north, but I'm in London.
Nice. And the Mank means you said Mank because you're up north?
Manc, yeah, short for Manchester.
Oh,
Yeah, I know
okay.
my
I
Yeah.
learned
Manchester,
something
but
new today.
yeah, I know my Manchester. Manchester United,
Officially, we
play
are
some soccer.
Mancunians. But yeah,
Nice. And I'm glad that you were talking about that because yes, you have a lot of alphabets behind your name technically.
Yes, got all
So
of them, just about all 26. Yeah.
so especially to be a lawyer and have that background, I want people to also understand that's why so many you'll hear those who are really thinking and been in business for a while will always tell you you should have a business attorney, you should have someone on retainer to make sure that if something does come up you have them to go over things with you. They'll help you with a lot of this these policy paperworks that Cass has been talking about to help you really get your arsenal together because that's what it is. You need a little arsenal, a little case, a little box, so all your goodies in there. So somebody's like, oh hey, I'm unhappy. Wait a minute, hold on, we got that right here. And you want to make sure. And a lot of times, especially when we're growing, a lot of times we grow fast. And when we're growing fast, we're not thinking about all those little pieces. So to have an attorney on your side, to have even an OBM, an online business manager, to help you kind of filter out everything that all the big picture things that you need in place. I think that's vital to keep.
yeah. I must say, officially, I am not on the roll because over here for a solicitor, you will be on a roll, and I have not been
Hmm.
called. I haven't
Okay.
completed, but I'm almost there. So I am cheaper than an actual solicitor.
Oh,
I will tell you exactly what you need to know, and you can go and get it signed off by them. So it will still save you money.
Yeah, because
exactly.
they don't know the difference,
They.
and it's the same here. I got a couple of friends on here that's paralegals, and I'm currently law school too. I'm not there yet, but I have been told that a lot of things that I'm going to learn is going to be worth a lot to a lot of people. So,
Hmm.
and I encourage you just as I encourage myself. Let's continue so we can get some more alphabets. I'm telling you, you got about 23, 24. You only got a couple more you can put back there behind your name. So we add those other ones behind there. But it's so essential to get this information from those who can help you out, such as what the real purpose of Real Talk is. We kind of give people and have people on that gives you an opportunity to be aware of the things that may befall you in the business, because everything is not, we know all the work that has to be put in, and we're hoping that you do that. You want to be a business person that has longevity, and you don't want to have your doors open. You want to maybe even grow it out to be, with your name on it, and you no longer be involved with it. It's just income for you. But whatever the case may be, it all starts at the foundation. And all of these things that we're talking about, and yes, it's a building you, whether it's your brand, it's your image, whether it's your empire, whatever you want to call it. These are
Mhm.
essential and integral parts of being successful. And if you can't afford it, because I was looking at some things, and I had an attorney tell me, yeah, I can do that for you for about $800 an hour. And I was like, wow. I was like, wow, maybe I should change what I'm studying in law. Then I can help my own self out. But she was just letting me know that some of these things, and then she called herself, give me a discount. I was like, wow, well, I appreciate it. I'm a big discount. But these are some of the things that you're giving us, Cass, that's really really essential and important for us, and it carries us away from having those shady boundaries, those shady practices, as my friend so eloquently put it, those shady practices. Have you seen any of those kind of things go on where people have come to you with the services that you offer? And be like, I had such and such happen. The client pulled out. They want their money back. I wasn't. I want to like give us some of those examples that you've had where people have came to you in those spots, and kind of how you helped them out with that.
Uh, oh, you put me on the spot. I love to ponder. So I
Yes,
should have
yes,
asked the
yes, yes,
question
yes. You
ahead of
studying
time.
you studying law. You may have a surprise. You may have a surprise.
No, we don't study law the same as you. It's
Oh,
full disclosure. Cards on the table. Don't bring
oh,
out no
sorry.
last minute
Oh,
See that?
sorry.
See,
surprises.
they don't do that
That's
dirty
probably why
stuff. See,
y'all.
shady,
See, that's
shady.
probably why y'all doing so well. In full disclosure, because if I didn't feel it was necessary for you to know, the law in the U.S. says I don't have to expose or disclose that
I can
information.
I can do a voila on you in the middle of the night. I'm
Yeah,
like, no, no.
this is
Like,
not a TV show.
see, exactly. This not
Don't waste
Matlock. What
God's
you saying?
time.
Oh, I might have a court reporter bring me something in the middle of our our cross examination over here. So we got a lot of
Very law and
opportunities
order.
to.
They not
Yeah.
doing that.
Okay. Okay.
So I guess I recently did a R&R policy, which is to get rest and relaxation, you must have a return and refund policy. And my client was adamant that they were not giving a refund, not under any circumstances. And it was the process of sitting down and saying, okay, so if you were to buy this for X amount, would you expect a refund? And if you were to buy this for like 1,000, would you expect a refund? And it's like, well, yeah, I would. So why would you not? Let people understand why it is that you're not so free with giving refunds, but then have that option there where it works for you and them. So when they're booking your service, then they have to be prepared. They have to be at the stage where they are ready to spend and learn. And if they're not, then your policy will say, do you know what? This is not for me. I need some thinking time. Let me go away and think, and let me not waste her time, because there is nothing more precious than time in this world. And everybody thinks it's, the size of the bank balance, but it's not. It's time, because we cannot get it back. And it's understanding that a lot of the time people are focused on themselves and how it's going to harm or benefit them, or more harm, I guess, for the really authentic entrepreneurs. But then when you point out how it looks on the outside of someone looking in, it's like, oh, okay, then. So it's not for me to coerce you, but that's the ethical side of it. It's to say, what if this was to happen? And how would you feel if it was not necessarily you, but if it was a family member? Because everybody, when you talk about, oh, suppose that happened to you, you're all big and brave and says, no, I can handle it, I'm manned up, I can do it. It's like, okay. So what about if it happened to a loved one? Well, no, that wouldn't be fair. And you have more empathy and sympathy for someone who's not you, that is close to you, that you love. So it's just having balance. But yeah, as I said in the beginning, it's not about judgment. It's just about asking those difficult questions that nobody else around you wants to ask. They don't even think of posing the question because maybe it will affect their bonus, their pay rise. They don't want to upset you. I don't care if I upset you. You can call me what you like, a consultant, just a little niggling in your ear. And people come back and they say, do you know, I was going to do X, Y, and Z. And then I heard your voice. I wasn't talking to you. I was busy doing whatever I was doing. I wasn't thinking about you, but I'm glad I heard that. I'm glad you made the right choice. You gave it a little bit of thought.
You're their little Jiminy Cricket on their
Yeah,
shoulder,
sitting
giving
on their
them that
shoulders.
telling them what they should be doing, and they hear it, which is good because I think that's what also gets us caught up. We're so busy just trying to get that next client in, trying to make the books grow and do what we want it to do, but we're not thinking, okay, what if there is a discrepancy? What if for whatever reason this client, this student just is not getting it, it's not working? That doesn't always mean that it's a failure overall. It's just saying that that's not a good connection, that's not a good match. So even if you gave somebody 30 days, 15 days, something, and say, I've seen it where policies are written, you have to actually show proof that you've done the work. So you have to show whatever task. Maybe you went up to week 3 and you've had 3 weeks worth of stuff to do, and you're showing like, I've done it all. I've done from day 1 to now. Nothing's working. Here are the results. Here are my numbers, whatever it is that you need. And that person can present it to you and they say, okay, you're right, this isn't working, we have the refund. um, how often has it been that you've seen that the reason why a lot of people do that fight back is because they're not financially set up for that? They have not taken that money in and put it to the side just in case, like a refund bank account or whatever that may look like, to say, you know what, I have it here. And instead of them saying, oh, wait a minute, you need a refund, I don't have the money. So how often have you seen that's been the reason? It's just because they have other aspects of their business that weren't ready, that weren't set up for that.
Do you know, sometimes it's just sheer greed. And again, I'm not going to judge you. If you're just being greedy, then so be it. But if you're not performing, you are not meeting the promises that you have made, then, you know, there's no excuse. Give the money back.
Hmm.
If you, and I guess that speaks to the procedure side rather than the policy, because you'll find as the company grows and you have like marketing and finance and operations, no one speaks to anyone. Everyone believes that they are the best of the best and they don't need to talk to anybody else. So they continue in their own little silo. And then there's a problem that happens, like operations doesn't carry out the work. I work a lot with construction companies. So the work is not to standard and not to how the client wants it. And then finance says, well, no, sort it out. And the person is saying, I don't want them to sort it out. You had the first chance and you failed. I'll find somebody else to do it. I don't trust you. And then nobody wants to give the money back because the person's in operation is saying, well, no, it's fine. And then the person in finance is saying, no, we'll get them to fix it. Fix it. And it's like, we can't fix it. You gave us cheap parts. If you gave us the right parts, then it would be right. That's what the complaint is. And then you have to bring them together and say, listen, you usually have the little admin person in the middle who says, well, no one's talking. And they have more of an understanding, but nobody wants to listen to them because they don't have a title of director or something like that. So it's about getting in the middle and speaking up and saying, look, this is not working. give it to me. I've been in a situation where I've said, give it to me, I'll handle it. And where the company has got to the point where they were about to be knocked out of the tender process, they then became the principal contractor. And I think they were turning like 2 million a month over. And all the processes and procedures were incorporated by the client, and it was shared amongst all the other contractors that they had. No one wants to talk. You've got this like ego.
Right.
And I love ego. I think it's necessary in business, but that's a whole different story. But when you have um, bad arrogance and just egotistical, then it's not going to work. And you need someone to actually go back. Nobody wants to do the grunt work, and that's the interesting part. Why would you not want to do that? Look at the steps and the procedures and all the rest of it. It's I find it fascinating. A lot of people don't. If you don't find it fascinating, then you accept your lesser talents and pass it off to somebody else so that people will trust you because you
Yes,
can
and
do
that's usually what it is. You want to build that trust, and we always hearing it. We want people to, what was it, know, like, and trust you. But how can they
it.
do that if you don't put your procedures and policies in place?
Not really sure about the know, like, and trust because there's a lot of people that I've worked with and they have not really known me. They definitely haven't liked me, but they trust that I'm going to get it sorted. And then the others follow through because then they like that I say what I'm going to do and then I carry it through. So then the light comes. But yeah, when you are in a bind, you don't care who's going to sort it out. You just want it sorted. You want the stress taken away. So know, like, and trust. That happens with long-term, clients that want to be your friend. Before
Mm,
that, they just need to trust that you can do what you're saying you're going to do. And your policies will
that
speak to
part.
that. If they can see it set out how you're going to work, then yeah, I don't know if many people do it. I go to websites and I look at what their policies say. Like, how do I'm going to order something. I'm a shopper. I love to spend. But if I am spending, what is your return policy? And I was reading one the other day and it confused me so much. It's like, do you have to apply so that you can get a refund? Or can I send, how does this work? I'm confused. I need to send you an email. You need to accept the email. When, yeah, confusing, confusing.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
reached
glad
out
you
to
mentioned that.
them. They
Yeah,
like the
I'm glad you mentioned because I remembered that because it kind of that threw me too. I saw that from a seller on Amazon, and I had to wait for them to respond and accept accept whatever I was telling them. And there was no like way to show them like a photo or anything because I take photos of everything just to make sure like this looks the way it's supposed to look. And I waited maybe like a week. And when I went back to see what Amazon's policy was, Amazon was like, look, you got 2 days. If they don't respond to you, come to us and we'll handle it. And within a few hours, Amazon was like, "Here's your money." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." But
right.
it was still like a little confusing. So I was like, "Do I send this back to you? What's happening?" And I reached out to them, but there was no response on that part. So there's a couple of things that even big companies kind of fall through the cracks as well. But because we're smaller business owners, we work for a lot of corporations. I think we need to be more mindful of what it is, especially if we're in charge. There's a lot of movers and shakers on this platform, on LinkedIn in particular, that are managerial. They're in the C-suite. So it's vital that we all are making sure that what we're expecting others to follow through on, that we're making it clear.
Yeah, because I think that gives the opportunity to the smaller person, the smaller business, if they want, where the large corporations say, look, we don't care. We sold it to you. We no longer want to give you a I had that with a large company like a couple of years ago. I had ordered something, I'm sending it back. You're not giving me the full refund. Why are you not giving me the full refund? I'm not buying anything from you again. They've now gone bust. I understand why. Because if you do it to more than one or two people, then they are your customers. They're going to tell their friend, oh no. Because I know I was telling everyone, don't buy from them. Because unless you can touch it, feel it, and you know it's right for you, don't buy from them because you're not going to get a refund. But you can do things that can help you. I know we're stuck on refunds, but if you're a lot of companies a good few years ago, they were like giving you free returns, free postage. And then I guess someone in finance must have twigged, listen, this is costing us too much. So now, if you read, sometimes your returns you have to pay for because there's someone who only wants something for like £5, but they're ordering just to try on and send back instead of going to the shop because of the convenience, because it doesn't cost them anything. Now, when you're ordering, you have to make sure, do you really want it? Because it's going to cost you to send it back. Is that
Yeah.
unethical? No, because you're a business. You're here to make money, not lose money. Does it harm your customers? No, not really. Not your true customers, because they're not ordering just to try it on and see how it looks. They're ordering because they want it.
Right.
It's not trying to please all people. It's your house. Have your house rules.
Yeah, so that's so before we head out, I wanted to make sure that we went over the three that you said so everybody knows what those are to be ethical and be ready for
Protect
these
your family.
policies. You want to try to make sure that you create house rules. This is your playground. I say that a lot. It's your playground. This is where you live. So you get to make the rules, make them clear, get them ready, and then also sit down and really understand to set up your foundation. How do you really want to build your business? And we all know you build it on sand and it won't last long. So you want to make a strong foundation for yourself, your business, people who are coming into your world, from clients to employees. You want to do something that's solid. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you get a rough estimate of everything that you need to cover. So you can sit down and say, okay, what do I need to get together? And of course, bring on a attorney, someone who specializes in this. It's even better if they specialize in your industry. Maybe they'll be able to stay on top of new laws and regulations that are being pushed out for that, because those are getting done almost every day. They're being talked about. And then every time there's a cycle of new laws coming, you want to make sure that you're ready for it. And especially if you're in a different country, if you're selling to another country, if your manufacturer's in another country, you want to make sure that you have all of that information and you're covered on all aspects of that. You never want to be caught out there and then starting to what look shady. And
Somehow or another, I knew that I was going to slip his way back into this conversation.
all the
Somehow,
time. And make sure that
somehow.
you visit Cass on her website at casssolutionsltd.com, and
Yes.
also hit her up on LinkedIn. Connect with her. Connect with her if you're going to take action, if you want to learn more, and make sure that you really do what you need to do. This is a year of taking action. This is a year, if you have policies, if you have procedures in place, start reviewing those. Are they strong enough? All the stuff that's been going on lately, are you ready? Are they reflecting any changes that you need to make? And I wanted to say, Carl, is there anything, any last words you wanted to give? And then I wanted to give Cass the last word before we leave.
Yes, I enjoyed it, Cass. I appreciate everything you brought to the table today. Gave us some great information, some great nuggets, and also I just want to reiterate, ask questions because it's starting out doing this, and as I said, earlier in the show, a lot of people has made that transition, that pivot, whatever you want to call it, or maybe some of you all are still working corporate, and it's kind of like a side hustle. The opportune moment is right now to do that. If there's something that you're going to engage in, something you're going to be in, something that you think is going to carry you further, definitely do that and be vulnerable. That's always my thing. Ask the questions that you need because you can sit there and act like you understand things, and then when the fire hits the fan, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, and it's going to cost you way more than that. So you pretending to know and acting like you know will not help you out in the long run. You may have a good information. I can tell you this for firsthand because I had a client sign up with me, and 4 months later they changed their mind, but they had already paid. And of course, me, like with any other business owner, I didn't have any policies in places to the refunds or things of that nature. And you said, how can you have that in your business, right? That's me not understanding the parameters and asking the questions in the beginning of what I needed. And it cost me. I didn't buck against. I was hot. I threw shade, in personal conversations with Charlene about it because she held me up for 5 months. You know what I mean? Before she wanted to begin, she paid me, which was fine. So I held the spot, and then she turned around and called me back and was like, "Nah, I need my money back." And I didn't have anything where I keep a certain part if you fail to, go through with it. I didn't have any of that set up, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I just didn't know it, and I have it. So now I know to the point of where I put some things in place so where this protects me next time. And it
Mhm.
also protects her because if she changed her mind or whatever, she has opportunity to say, okay, So those are the things that we're going to do. Check out my vulnerability transportation program. It's 4 weeks of an intensive showing your vulnerability, embracing your vulnerability, and just dealing with it. And we're going to uncover some things that you may not have knew about yourself. It's going to transform the way you live. So definitely go to the website, check that out, carlshawnwatkins.com/BTP. The next class starts March 7th. So it's not too late for you to sign up. You got plenty of time to do that. And also our different shows. We're going to be on Friday, and we're going to be talking about some great things as well. Talk about those strategies, those site strategies. Charlene.
Yes, and that's what's gonna come up Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, and
Yes.
we're gonna talk about words. How do words affect our websites and SEO? And
I love
are
words.
you talking properly to your people? Or is your voice, your tone of voice coming off wrong? Like we're gonna get into that. 30 minutes, just a quick chit chat,
I'll hit
letting
you
y'all
real
know
quick like
what's
a
what.
champ. Real quick
and
like
it,
Ali. Knock you out quick, fast.
And if you, of course, want a quick SOS session with me, go to brooklyn.customdesigns.com/SOS and get your session together. And Cass, you're going to close this out today. Let the folks know where they can find you.
Oh, okay. Well, I am on Clubhouse. That's where I speak. Apparently, I've got some kind of voice that is
Yeah,
appealing. I
I'm
don't
telling you
know.
that accent. I'm
Yes,
telling you that
ma'am. Yes,
accent.
ma'am.
It grabs attention. It grabs attention. Make
Yes,
people want to
ma'am.
hear.
But it's twice a week now. On a Tuesday, it's in a gaff room with two very talkative people, but they are so lovely, so passionate about what they do. And I come in at the end and try and mellow the vibe. Like when you go to a dance, it's all, yeah, and then yeah.
Slow dance. Slow dance to end the
Turn on
night,
the
right?
slow dance.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
end of the night. Yeah, I
I
got
am
you.
the slow jam. And then I have my own little section today. My time is 6 o'clock, and I just invite anyone to come in and understand, talk about, have any questions with regards to policies and procedures on what's happening with the changing world. So yeah, it's a quick one. That one I know is quick. It's like an hour. I tried for 30 minutes, but we have a conversation, and I don't want to rush it because I don't believe in rushing people. But yeah, so Clubhouse, if you want to speak to me, otherwise you can book a session. You
Love
can
it. Love
sound
it.
me out on Clubhouse.
Yes.
You said it was
So
an
thank
hour because some of them clubhouse rooms. I check in clubhouse. I do like three or
they
four
be
times a day. I check
7 days.
in. I
They be
check
a whole
in the
month.
morning. That,
Yep.
that that room's still going. I check in on my lunch break. That room's still going. I check in at dinner time. That room's still going. I like ain't nobody in that room got no job. They're not doing no job. They don't have no job. They've been on that room all
Oh
day,
my
12 hours,
gosh.
from 7 in the morning to 7 in the night. But anyway, that's
Uh,
that's that's my thing. Thank
Well,
everybody
thank
that came by.
everyone.
Go ahead, Charlie. Close us
Yes.
out, Charlie.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming through. And we
Yes.
will see y'all next Tuesday for another amazing show of Real Talk. And,
Deuces.
catch us on Friday. Catch us tomorrow, y'all.
Yes, catch us tomorrow. We'll be there.
Talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it. Real talk with Carl get it.